The grassroots here in Tennessee are the people, mostly the transplants that have come here from other states. They fled blue states to come to Tennessee so that they could live in this red nirvana here in Tennessee. And when they get here, they realize to their dismay and horror that the stuff is here too. One of the biggest things that draws me to a story is if it's going to affect the taxpayers' money, you're using taxpayer money to do it, you're suppressing somebody's speech, you're essentially imposing yourself in a way that's completely inappropriate for a government entity. Those are the things that draw me. That's what I do. That's my job, to illuminate, to educate. I want you to know all the things because they're telling you this, and in reality, this is what they're doing. The Pride Festival next month. Right now, they have issued a permit for this Pride Festival to go on with a policy in place put there by the organization, the Franklin Pride organization, that essentially says that you cannot come in, even though the public is invited and it's on public property, you cannot come into that festival if you're wearing a shirt or a hat or carrying an item that doesn't align with their mission. So essentially, that's a violation of the First Amendment. You can't invite the public to an event on public property and impose yourself in that way. Oh, and by the way, use the taxpayer-funded Franklin Police Department as your own personal brute squad to do it. They arrested a man 2 years ago because he was wearing a t-shirt that had Jesus on it. And all because he said, I'm not going to leave. I have a right to be here. You're having your festival in a public space that is maintained with public dollars. You don't get to say they can't wear a MAGA hat. You don't get to say they can't wear a t-shirt that says Jesus on it. You don't get to say they can't carry their Bible in there. You don't get to do that. And yet, our board of mayor and aldermen, who would all say that they are conservatives, at least they're going to say they're conservatives and they're Republicans. Maybe they're Republicans, but they sure aren't conservative. Because if they were, that would be sacrosanct to them. That a person could go into a public space that the city maintains with public dollars and express themselves in the way that this country allows everybody to. People might not like it. It might make them uncomfortable. Oh well, this is America. Williamson County residents, I don't know, maybe they wouldn't be surprised, but they might be surprised to learn that a large number of cases that are adjudicated in our county courts are dealing with illegal aliens. If there's anybody that gets hurt or killed or any kind of damage is done by any illegal aliens that are currently living in Williamson County, Tennessee, just know that there was a bill that could have alleviated that problem in the state of Tennessee, and our state Republican supermajority killed it on purpose, just to teach the sponsor of the bill a lesson for not falling in lockstep with the Republican leadership. It was totally political. You're going to have people telling you that they have an R after their name, so they're going to be telling you they're conservative. You have to do your due diligence and actually study that person's voting record, look and see what kind of bills and resolutions that they were passing. You have to ask them questions. Find your senator's office, find your state representative's office. If they're not on the floor, they're probably in their office. They will answer your questions. And if they won't, there's a reason. And you need to consider that too. Go to the committees. Sit in those committees with your shirt on that represents your grassroots organization. That gets their attention. It does move the needle. If you were involved at all in your old state, you know what a rhino looks like. Trust your gut, because if they tell you they're a conservative and something just doesn't set right with you, you're listening to what they're saying and somehow it's not ringing as genuine, then there's something there. And I would say you have to investigate it and ask questions. Don't just take it as a surface, well, they have an R after their name, so I trust them. Don't do that. You have to really do your due diligence and you have to do your research. The vast majority of the Republican supermajority in our state, they don't have a great score when it comes to voting conservatively. They just don't. Ever since Donald Trump came down that beautiful gold escalator in 2015, it really has helped to emphasize who the Republicans are or who the conservatives are. Conservatism is not the same by definition as it was pre-Donald Trump. Here in Williamson County, the establishment wants you to believe you can be a Republican without being a conservative. They want to confuse you about what a conservative actually is. The values that conservatives hold. And they manage to utilize verbiage and words that you hear a lot in MAGA world. It gives you the impression that that is their ideology. When in reality, again, if you look at the bills that they pass, if you look at the bills that they support or they kill in our state house, they are far from being conservative Republicans. So what I want people to be able to know is they're telling you this, and that's what I'm going to start with. Here's what they're telling you, but here's what they're doing. And this is what you need to do to let them know that you know what they're doing. So then that way it can affect some change. People need to act. You can't just read. You can't just get on your keyboard and go after somebody on Facebook. You have to act. You have to let them know you're watching. You have to let them know that you understand the issue because they think you're dumb. They don't think you're paying attention. And you need to hold them accountable. And I'm hopeful that I give you the tools and the information that when you go to them and you ask them the questions, they can't shine you on. You already have the information before you even ask the question. And then they have to answer you honestly. And when they don't, you can call them on it.